This is the new Doogee V20S, a dual-screen rugged phone, and this is quite impressive. Hi everyone, this is JD, your gadget review friend. Welcome back to GadgetRevNow. Rugged phones are normally associated with bulky design, more of a tool instead of something you can show off to people, normally used for camping or construction work, something really active because you need that extra protection. What if you have a rugged phone that gives you all that feature, plus a little bit flashy, a good design, with an extra rear display? Is this phone worth it? We will unbox it and do a full review. Let's go to work. First, let's do the unboxing, but if you like to jump to the other parts of the video, like the performance, camera, or battery life, I will leave the timestamp on the description below. Let's quickly open the Doogee V20S, and if you'd like to purchase this phone after this video, I will leave the link in the description. So opening the box, we have the Doogee V20S smartphone. We will check this later, but for now, let's check what else is inside the box. We have the user manual and warranty information. We also have a 30 watts fast charger. This phone can support 33 watts, so it's a little bit less than the maximum charging speed. We also have the USB OTG cable for transferring of data and use of other accessories. And it also has a fast charging cable that is the same color as the charger. Looking at Doogee V20S, you will see that Doogee also included a kickstand case with a leathery texture, same texture or finish at the back of the phone. We have the easy key and the SIM slot on one side. There's nothing on top. We have the power button and volume buttons on the other side. And at the bottom, you have the speaker, microphone, and the rubber cover that covers the USB-C port of the phone. At the back, you have the camera module with the triple camera setup, flash, and a small AMOLED screen. Later, we will talk about this. So I think that's it for the unboxing and quick look. Now let's talk about everything you need to know about Doogee V20S. First, let's talk about the design and comparing with other rugged phones. The size and dimension of this phone feels like any other smartphone, a little bit on the thicker side, but all good. The back of the phone is two-toned white and black color. You will have a leathery texture with Doogee logo, and on top you'll have a triple camera module and flash. It also houses a small 1.58-inch AMOLED display, which we will talk about later. In front, you have a good-looking 6.40-inch AMOLED screen with a little bit of bezels on the side. This phone has military-grade protection. You can put this on freezing temperature, dunk this to water. This would withstand beatings and drops, so you don't have to worry about protecting this phone. The overall construction of this phone is a combination of rubber, glass, and metal. There's even some screws on the side, which looks really nice and make this phone a really good-looking rugged phone. Let's talk about the screen quickly, and talking about AMOLED screen. At the back, you'll find a 1.58-inch display. By pressing the shortcut key once, it would launch the watch face by default. This screen is controlled by swipe gestures. Swiping down, you'll have the power indicator. Swiping up, you have the notification. And swiping to the right gives you the compass and the music control. It feels like having a smartwatch built in on the back of the phone. If you're doing trekking or hiking, it's nice to have a compass built in on the phone. In front houses a big 6.53-inch AMOLED display. This is a full HD dot display, which means there's a punch hole for the selfie camera. In front, you'll also have the notification LED light that shows different colors depending on the notification and the status of the phone. The colors are extra punchy on the screen. I was actually looking to change the color scheme on the settings, but I'm unable to dial it down. The blacks are also deep because it's an AMOLED screen. I couldn't find any information about the refresh rate, but I think it's a regular 60 Hz. And in terms of brightness, I would think this would be the same as last generation's V20, which is around 500 nits. Since this is a newer technology, it could be higher than that. The performance of this phone is pretty solid for what it offers. It's running on Dimensity 6020 octa-core, a 7nm processor with a speed of 2.2 GHz. It is coupled with 32 GB of RAM, 12 GB of RAM plus up to 20 GB of external RAM using the internal storage. Out of the box, it has 256 GB of storage on UFS 2.2, and you can always extend this using micro SD. Using this phone for almost a month, it's a joy of using this phone. I'm not really a heavy user. I'm just a person who goes on social media every day, answering comments on my YouTube, do phone calls and text, and maybe doing more of a vlogging on my smartphone. So the horsepower of this phone is really sufficient for my digital lifestyle. For heavy users playing games like Genshin Impact, Mobile Legends, and PUBG are all playable in this phone. The graphics are a little bit on the basic side for Genshin Impact, but for Mobile Legends and PUBG, you can play this on ultra graphics. That's how good MediaTek 6020 is. I'm just having a little bit of issue with my banking apps. I think the banking app is not supporting the new V20S yet, so I hope as this phone gets popular, some banking apps will support the fingerprint sensor because right now it's a little buggy. And speaking of apps and software, this phone is running on Android 13 out of the box. I've also tried to update this phone, and for almost a month now, I haven't received any software or security patches on this phone. I hope Doogee will send this phone updates, most especially security, to make sure the users are protected. The launcher or the home screen is almost stock Google experience. If you swipe left, you will have the Google Now feature. There are some other tweaks on the home screen as well, like making the fonts bigger or making the folders larger, which is nice, something that Huawei popularized on their Harmony OS. The camera is a combination of good news and bad news. I feel like it's half-baked but it's really good. Looking quickly on the specs, it has an AI triple camera of 50 megapixel AI main camera, 24 megapixel night vision camera, 8 megapixel wide angle and macro camera, and 20 megapixel front camera. Looking at the image quality, it's pretty solid using the main 50 megapixel sensor. I actually fall in love with the portrait mode. I think the subject separation is really good, and I do look good on portrait mode. The colors are more on the natural side. I should say a little bit vivid, but it looks really awesome, especially on daytime. It feels like any other mid-range phones on its price point. Outdoors, the sky looks really good, and if you put the subject a little bit closer on the camera, you would see a little bit of background blur, and just the overall feel. Definitely you can use this as a daytime camera phone. Going on a darker environment or night shot, the night shot capability is unusable, don't use it. Instead use the night vision, but it would take black and white photo on low light scenarios. The more challenging part of the camera is the video quality. This phone can shoot 2K video recording. If you put this on gimbal or tripod, I think it's okay. But if you're using it handheld, the footage is shaky. Hey yo everyone, this is the selfie video recording in full HD 30 FPS. That's the maximum resolution on this phone. I think the footage is decent. It's not impressive like a flagship grade camera, but all good. There's a little bit of jello effect while moving, but all good. So this is the rear camera video recording on Doogee V20S in 2K 30 FPS. How's the stabilization? I already tested this a few times on basketball game, church, family gathering, and even eating outside. If you're using a gimbal or a tripod, this will work. But this will be extra challenging if you're holding it because it's punched in and the stabilization is just okay. So this is the selfie video recording outdoors for you to see the difference between indoors and outdoors. Still in full HD 30 FPS. Now we're switching to the rear camera. So this is the rear camera in 2K 30 FPS. The video quality is really good if properly exposed. This is flaring against the light. Again, the camera is really good. Not impressive like a flagship camera phone, but it's usable. The battery life of this phone is solid at 6,000 mAh for someone who'll be using this for a lot of things like gaming, video recording, social media, and even watching content on a smartphone. This will easily last a day. If you're doing a lot of gaming, you might stretch this phone, maybe charge it twice a day. But the good thing here is it supports 33 watts of fast charging. Just over an hour, you will reach 0 to 100%. This phone also has a side-mounted fingerprint sensor. It's pretty reliable and fast unlocking the phone. I don't have any issue with a sweaty hand. This phone also supports face unlock, obviously faster than biometrics, but it is less secured. Also, one good feature of this phone is the NFC, which allows Google Pay if you're using that kind of payment method wirelessly. And lastly, speakers are good too. I think it emphasizes more on the voice of the person, more on the highs and the mids, and less of the bass. Here's the sample. This is the first time I wake up and all I see is body of waters. All in all, I feel like it's a really solid phone for what it's worth, with a gorgeous dual AMOLED screen, a solid performance and healthy storage, and usable camera and big battery life that would last you a full day. I think Doogee V20S is a really good dual-screen rugged phone, and with a price that matches the performance and features, I think it's worth it.